If you don't have a good radio, or if you don't have a working radio, then that's kind of a problem. Like, it's looked down upon to talk in movie theaters. Like, you just don't do it. It's a lonely life that I lead. Hi guys, how are you doing today? It's pretty boring, right? I really am appreciative of those people who have kept watching my videos, all 19 of you. It's pretty great. And I really love interacting with you. So if you do want to interact with me, just leave a comment down below and I will try to respond within the reasonable few days that I have. Today I wanted to talk about movie theaters versus drive-ins and the pros and cons of both. They both have pros, they both have cons, and I'll tell you at the end which one I like better in general. So the thing is, when you go to see a movie, usually it's with, at least for me, it's usually by myself or with a very large group of friends, maybe 5 of us. But movie theaters are very expensive, especially in California and other very expensive places to live. But at least for me, it's really hard to get a group of people to go to the movie theaters because it's so expensive. Like, you know, tickets run for about $12 each. So here's the thing about movie theaters. Yes, it's a romanticized idea that the Western culture has created for us to enjoy. And, you know, you go to the movie theater and you get popcorn and you get the same drink, and you and your date might accidentally hold hands during the movie when you're both reaching for popcorn. It's romantic. Every rom-com in the world does it. Not saying that, but all the Coca-Cola commercials say otherwise. However, let's talk about movie theaters. Movie theaters are a very nice place to go and chill for a few hours, and, like, you know, you could sit in quiet. If you live in some place where there's a lot of noise, then it just doesn't, it works for you that you go to see a movie which is, you know, mandated quiet and you watch a movie enjoyably. If it's an action movie, it might not be as quiet as you want it to be, but beside the point. However, there's also the option of a drive-in. If you're like me, I don't have very much access to a drive-in, but when I do want to go to the drive-in, I will do that. I will go to a drive-in. The thing is about drive-ins, they're not very accessible because they need a lot of space, 1, and then 2, they need a lot of space. So it's usually out somewhere secluded, not very city area. The only movie that I've really seen use a drive-in as a setting for one of their scenes is Ant-Man. So let's talk about things that are different between movie theaters and drive-ins. Movie theaters, you have reserved seating. I think all of them do now. Yeah, Regal and Cinemark both have reserved seating. It just kind of happened that way, that people liked it better. The lines for movies are non-existent because you have reserved seating, so you don't need to rush to get a good seat. Theaters, again, you get absolute silence. You don't have to talk at all. Like, it's looked down upon to talk in movie theaters. Like, you just don't do it. Another thing is you have a lot of concessions available to you, but they're kind of pricey in general. Like, not saying that they're not good, but they're just very pricey. Like, you know, you get a little box of M&Ms for $5 and you're just like, what? I can get this at the gas station and I can get 3. Movie theaters have amazing surround sound systems and their screen is huge so you can see everything. It's very clear. The movie theater is all immersive. You're in a room of darkness with the sound literally surrounding you, and then the screen is huge and everybody can see it. Unless, of course, you have that really tall person in front of you that just, you know, his head is just right there in your center and you're just like, I can't see anything. But the movie tickets, again, are more expensive, and generally, if you're with a large group, they cost a lot more. Movie theaters also have usually the newest releases, more showings of them. The reason I like movie theaters is because of that all immersive experience, and also because I can see a movie whenever I want it. Usually for my kind of typical day, I see movies during the day, during the matinee, and then at night I don't have time to do any of it, so I don't go to see a movie. It's also cheaper to do the matinee. It's pretty great. So I do that. So that's kind of nice for me and that kind of thing. And plus I usually go alone to movie theaters. It's a lonely life that I lead. But on the other hand, we're going to talk about drive-ins. Now, if you've never experienced a drive-in, it's basically at night you go to the drive-in theater, pay for whatever tickets that you are gonna buy, like if there's a group of 6 of you, pay for those tickets and drive right in, find a parking spot, and the spaces are like humped so that your car, either the trunk or the front part of it, is facing up towards the screen, and then you tune your radio into the station of the actual showing and you get to hear it through your car's amazing speakers. It's very fun. You get this kind of like sleepover camping vibe from it because you get to, if you're with a big group of people like I've done in the past, me and some friends, we took a van, like a minivan out there, and then we decked the back of the car out with blankets and pillows, and you know, it was great and amazing. The thing about drive-ins is that virtually any spot in the entire theater is a good seat. The screen's so big that you don't have to worry about it, and you don't have to worry about somebody really tall sitting in front of you because you can literally move your parking spot if you wanted to in the middle of trailers. The spaces in between people also are decently far apart that you don't have to worry about hearing other people's conversations when you're in the car, unless you're really, really loud, which I highly doubt, because people usually when they're seeing a movie are not the loudest people, unless it's Avengers Endgame and you're seeing Cap pick up Thor's hammer for the first time, and then the entire theater goes nuts. That also means if you're like me, I talk during movies. I'm one of those annoying people. I talk during movies to my friends who are also big movie watchers, and so we like to talk during the movie like, oh my goodness, did you see that? It's so cool. Or did they really use that joke? Like, it's just those kinds of conversations that I have with my friends. However, that doesn't always work well in a movie theater, so that's why I feel more comfortable doing it in a drive-in experience. Another thing that you can do in drive-ins that you cannot do in movie theaters is that you can bring as much food as you want. There is no limit to food. Yes, you can buy concessions there, but they're not the best quality, but that means that you can literally bring a pot of chili and share it amongst the people in your car. Nobody has a rule against that. You can buy food on the way there and eat it during the movie's runtime. That's a huge plus for me. I don't have to smuggle things in or buy overpriced popcorn. A drive-in is also less expensive the more people you have. Some drive-ins do it per car, but I think most of them do it now where it's per person. But even then, I was looking up drive-in prices and it's about $7 a person, which is half the price of a movie ticket if you think about it. One downside to this is if your radio doesn't work. One of my friends has an amazing speaker system, but their antenna doesn't work for their radio, so they can't actually receive any radio signals. If you don't have a good radio, or if you don't have a working radio, then that's kind of a problem. I like drive-ins personally because 1, I can talk, 2, I can bring as much food as I want, and 3, it's just a fun experience. It's new and exciting, and like you get to actually be comfortable. But now with theaters and reclining seats, I feel like that perk is just kind of moot now. So let's look at the list of things. Movie theaters versus drive-ins. Movie theaters, reserved seating. Drive-ins, doesn't matter what seat you get. It's always a good seat. You cannot talk in movie theaters, but you can talk in drive-ins. The concessions are freshly made when you get there, but they're kind of overpriced. Whereas in drive-ins, you can bring as much food as you want for whatever price you paid for it. You could have bring homemade cookies. With movie theaters, you have to smuggle your own food in, whereas drive-ins, you don't have to. But in movie theaters, the concessions are better and the drive-ins are not that great of concessions. Movie theaters have the amazing surround sound speakers, and in drive-ins, it really depends on the sound system of your car. Movie theaters are generally more expensive tickets. Drive-ins are less expensive tickets. For movie theaters, there's more options. In drive-ins, there's not as many options. Also, movie theaters are all day, and then drive-ins are only at night. So there are pros and cons to both sides of this argument. I personally enjoy drive-ins a lot more than I do movie theaters. If you're gonna make an event out of it, I would go to a drive-in. But if it's just a casual movie between you and one other person, or you and a couple of other good friends of yours, and you're going during the day, then the movie theater would be the better option. I personally really like drive-ins. I really do. It's just a great thing. It's kind of like rental houses for DVDs. Like, you don't find them anymore because Blockbuster shut down because of Netflix, because of streaming. But I think there's an art to physically looking and picking out what you want from the list of movies that you have available to you at Blockbuster or wherever. But that's a completely different topic for another day. But what do you think? What do you think is a better option for you personally? That's all I have for you guys this Random Thursday. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great Random Thursday. I will see you on the other side of the screen.